Author Don Miguel Ruiz said respect is one of the greatest expressions of love. On today's case, Mr. Mendez says that if that's true, then it's clear his fiancée, Ms. Adrianzen, has no love for him at all. He says that for the past 5 years, she's disrespected everything from his feelings to his hobbies and even his affections. He says her inability to show him even the most basic courtesies and wife-like qualities have him questioning his relationship and whether or not he's ready to walk down the aisle with her. Let's hear their case.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding. Your Honor, this is the case of Mendez versus Adrianzen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mendez, Ms. Adrianzen. Mr. Mendez, you say that you are here in court today to make a final decision on your future with Ms. Adrianzen. You say your fiancé has disrespected you, shown a lack of communication, and does not display wife-like qualities.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Adrianzen, you are here today, you say, to save your relationship with Mr. Mendez. You say you feel pushed aside when it comes to his hobby, and you want him to focus on your partnership.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so now let's see how we got here today. I understand you all have been together for 5 years. You've been engaged a year. You actually have a wedding date set for November 2022. Mr. Mendez, you brought this case. Why are we in court today?
Well, Your Honor, in the beginning, we have had our ups and downs with each other. We've always tend to talk things out, though, towards the end. I've explained to her in the beginning of the relationship that I do have certain hobbies that I tend to use towards investments in the future, buying cards and selling cards and using that same type of money to be able to put towards the wedding. And I guess maybe during that time that we've been together that things have created a lot of friction between us. And it seems as though she thinks that I replaced her with my own personal hobbies. And so it's created a lot of issues that made me feel like she doesn't respect what I'm trying to do, looking at the greater good towards the end.
I understand, exactly. Ms. Adrianzen, what do you say in response?
I just want to say that I'm here because I want to save this relationship with Alex. I've been with him for the last 5 years, and I feel like I love this man. I'm ready to take the next step and get married. But I just feel like he doesn't pay attention to me. He's talked to me about this card collecting hobby, but that's all he does. He just collects cards, and instead of spending time with me, he just does that the whole time.
I want to get into what this hobby is because I want to understand it. Mr. Mendez, as I understand, you are a pretty avid card collector. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So tell me how it became a problem. Did Ms. Adrianzen know that this was something you were interested in when you all first got together?
Yes, Your Honor. In the beginning of the relationship, those were some of the beginning qualities that we've had together that we shared in the interest in fantasy. There are some events that I go to every single year, one of which is called Megacon. Megacon is probably one of the highlights for me as a geek because I love to go every year where they sell all kinds of different exclusive cards. So with that being said, Megacon for me has been something that I go to every year, and I thought in the relationship that I could bring Maria with me so that way that we can have an experience together so she can see some of the joy that I have going. You get to see all kinds of people dressing up and having a good time, as well as seeing a lot of vendors that sell some of these exclusive cards that I share a lot of passions in. I saw one in particular that I was very much into that I just had to get my hands on, and it was anywhere between like $800 to $900. I told myself if it was still there by next year, I was gonna get my hands on it because again, it's one of those older sets that tend to gradually increase over time in the value. During the time that I was with Maria, she enjoyed herself for the most part, at least that's what I thought. I explained to her that we were gonna be walking and standing a long time. You might get dehydrated and hungry. Luckily, there was a lot of food and beverages there. During that time, which once it was completed, she told me on the card ride back home she wasn't enjoying herself. In fact, it was the complete opposite. During that time, she just told me that her feet were swollen, she didn't enjoy herself, she didn't really understand the premise of Megacon, and she didn't really like some of the people that I was hanging out with during that time that I was in Megacon. When we got back home, it was just the silent treatment. It was just complete silent treatment. She told me she didn't want to come back to Megacon ever again, and so next year came around. I decided that I wanted to go to Megacon again, but I knew that she wasn't involved in it. She didn't really like it, so I decided to go with some friends.
Okay.
She didn't really take very kindly to that because she felt neglected.
How long is the conference?
The entirety of it can go anywhere between 2 to 3 days, but I only show up for 1 day out of the entire year.
So let me interrupt you. Miss Adrianzen, what was wrong with him and this, what appears to be harmless hobby? It actually sounds fun.
The problem with that experience first is that he told me it was gonna be just a few hours, 5 hours. We ended up spending like over 13 hours on that.
Oh, listen, girl, I don't care about any of this. This is not my kind of thing. It's fascinating while I listen to it for about 10, 15 minutes. But that's not my thing, and I'm good with that, okay? I'm good with that. So I'm not mad at you for not wanting to spend 13 hours on something that's not your passion.
Exactly.
But what's the problem with him enjoying himself at it? I mean, it sounds like he has a good time.
This year that we went together, he told me it was gonna be about us, like us having the experience, and I never felt that way. He was just focusing on his hobby with the cards, just buying a bunch of cards, toys that I thought that he didn't really need it.
Yeah, but Miss Adrianzen, wait a minute, hold up. That's not really fair. You knew he was a card collector, and this is a 1 day, 2, 3 at the most, but he didn't even ask you to do the 2, 3 event. That's like me going to the Super Bowl. No, because I like the Super Bowl. Me going to a, UFC fight with my husband. Now I watch it on Saturday night with him for about 20 minutes and then I'm good. But I'm not trying to go where all those people are and go to the UFC. I'm not trying to do all that. Megacon is 1 time a year, am I right, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's 1 time a year.
Yeah.
So why is it a problem?
It's not a problem, like I said. If he goes like once in a year, it's okay. But as long as he let me know. But he never communicates that stuff.
Girl, it's once a year.
You're looking at anywhere between $1,200 to $1,500 on the low end and $2,000 on the high end.
Sometimes he just comes to the house, buys a lot of stuff from the Yu-Gi-Oh store, and then what? I have to end up covering for his friend, his card, his auto insurance.
That's not entirely true.
Yeah.
That's not entirely true. Is that why you ripped my card?
Yes.
Your Honor, if I may interject for a second.
Yes, of course.
One of the bigger issues that really created cataclysm in our relationship was because during the time that I did decide to go, when I went because I was intending to buy that same card.
Right, that $800, $900 card that you had your eye on from the year before. See, I'd be paying attention.
Exactly.
Okay?
I was trying to buy that card, and when I finally got my hands on it, mind you, I've been waiting quite a while for it. I was in line at least maybe 10, 15 people deep. But when I finally got my chance to get it, because I felt like I was the only one that could afford it, weird flex, but anyways.
That's not a weird flex. Did you save that money over the year?
I sure did.
Okay.
I sure did. I saved that money, and I finally got my hands on it. And I actually did submit a photo through evidence, so that way that you can take a look at the card.
Sure, let me see what you're talking about.
That is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. That is a Starlight Rare Yu-Gi-Oh card. It's very exclusive, very, very hard to come by. And that one in particular at retail price was going for $800 when I paid for it.
And what did you think it would sell for ultimately?
If I had the opportunity to have gotten it graded a PSA 10 or PSA 9, you're looking at anywhere between $1,200 to $1,500 on the low end and $2,000 on the high end, if I got it graded.
And if you held on to it for a little longer, it only appreciates in value.
That's correct. It's basically like investing in the stock market, Your Honor.
And for your community, that is a great asset. Am I correct?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
All right, I understand it completely. It's not my thing. I like art. A lot of people can't get why I invest in art. But I know what the value of a particular art piece is going to be in anticipation of having something that, God forbid, something should happen rainy day, I can go and sell that piece of art and know that I'm gonna be eating every single day. You see what I'm saying? So I know what your concept is behind this.
However, one of the bigger issues with that, you would think I'd be celebrating by the time I got home.
Yeah, because you got your card.
Exactly, Your Honor, but here's the problem. Once I showed her what the card was and how much I paid for it after she got done bombarding me with questions like I was in an interrogation, she was very upset because she complained to me how I spend more money on my hobbies as opposed to me putting any type of investment into our relationship. What I felt wasn't true. In fact, it was furthest from the truth. I felt it was disrespectful because in the grand scheme of things, when I do buy these cards, I tend to hold them, flip them, and use that same profit to either reinvest into the card game to make even more money to invest ultimately for our wedding or for date night,
That
etc.
is not true.
Here's my question. Are you able to afford the household where you and Miss Adrianzen live in? Do you pay your rent on
Yes,
time?
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Do you all have a car?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you pay your car note on time?
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
your insurance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are the lights turned on in your house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does the water run when you take a shower?
Yes, Your Honor.
When I open the refrigerator and come to visit, will there be something in there for me to eat?
I hope so, if she didn't get to it first.
Okay, so in other words, your necessities are taken care of at the crib.
Absolutely.
Miss Adrianzen, is there a problem with what he just said?
Yes, he is lying.
So wait,
He
the rent's
doesn't.
not paid on time?
No, sometimes I gotta cover his part of the rent.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry, you have to cover his part of the
Yeah.
rent?
Sometimes he just comes to the house, buys a lot of stuff from the Yu-Gi-Oh store, and then what? I have to end up covering for his friend, his car, part of his auto insurance,
So,
stuff like that.
she has paid off the rent for you?
That's
Yes,
not
before.
entirely true.
Yes.
That's not entirely
Well,
true. Is
what
that why
part?
you ripped my card?
Yes.
She comes over here with a smirk on her face telling me that she sold every single last card. And she only got $500. I'm assuming that the reason why she did that was because she thought that I was conducting nefarious acts of cheating.
Cheating?
That's right, Your Honor.
You trading cards at the strip club or something? If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Missed a show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content. What happened with the card?
The card got ripped up by the time I got home.
What?
I went to work, and by the time I got home to put it into appraisal and go through the whole process with PSA, I find out that it was completely torn to shreds.
Wait.
Wow.
$800. That's like taking
Man.
a piece of art off my wall and spraying it with a ketchup bottle.
Yes, Your Honor. I literally found it in a blender,
I
completely
wanted you
torn.
to feel what I felt. It was.
Wait.
What did you
wait,
feel?
Miss Adrianzen, you took an $800 piece
Yes,
of
I did.
property and destroyed
I
it on
did that.
purpose?
That's foul.
I did that.
You did?
Yeah, and I don't regret it because I felt like that's what he's been doing with my money, pretty much, spending my money on that cars.
Wait, Miss Adrianzen, I'm sorry. You destroyed his property. That wasn't your property to destroy.
I know what I did, but I was upset about it.
So you're not gonna tell her what else you did? You're not gonna tell her what you did with the rest of my collection?
Wait. There's more?
There is more, yes, Your Honor. I decided that I was gonna get most of my collection, I was gonna show it to some kids in the community so that way that they can start getting more introduced to Yu-Gi-Oh! I get ready to come home, I'm excited, and I find out that my binder is completely empty. Empty, from cover to cover, there was no cards available. I had over at least 120 cards in there. All of them were near mint condition, ready to be sold at any point if I needed to.
That's
What
a lot
happened
of
to the
money.
cards?
According to her, when I got home, because I completely spazzed out and trashed the entire place trying to find the rest of my collection, she comes over here with a smirk on her face telling me that she sold every single last card.
Wow.
And she only got $500 for that entire collection. Mind you, I spent $800 for a single card to buy some bougie purse. I'm assuming that the reason why she did that was because she thought that I was conducting nefarious acts of cheating.
Cheating?
That's right, Your Honor.
You trading cards at the strip club or something?
No, Your Honor, no, I am not.
No, but explain her why I did what I did.
So, as I was telling you before, I was getting ready to talk to a couple of friends of mine, a couple of coworkers, and a couple of kids that are getting ready to get introduced to the game. All I was trying to do was just set up a time where I can meet up with one of my coworkers who happens to be female. I've been texting back and forth trying to set up a time where we can meet up somewhere public. I can introduce the game in a lot more fluent manner and show her off some of my collection so that way that she understands what to invest into for her son. And all of a sudden, now she's assuming that because I'm texting her all the time, that I'm considered
yes,
cheating now.
texting her
Are
in
you
the middle of
texting
the
her
night.
in front of Miss Adrianzen's face, or are you being
No,
sneaky and doing it
in the middle of the night.
Did you see any text messages that made you think that they were having some sort of affair?
Yeah.
What did you see?
Because I saw that they were gonna meet just in a restaurant, no Yu-Gi-Oh, nothing related, nothing card related. It was just, oh, hey, let's hang out, let's see each other. What are you doing today? Like just basic conversation that you can have
Just
with a
because the
female
kid likes
that it's
Mickey
not
D's doesn't
a,
mean I'm
that's a
cheating.
friend.
Miss Adrianzen, I sit here behind this bench every single day. You cannot imagine the stuff that folk come in here and complain about with their partner. They spend hours at the strip club. They have a gambling addiction. They have a drug addiction. They drink too much alcohol. I met somebody the other day who drinks a pint of tequila a day and thinks that that's okay and wants his wife to put up with that. I have people who are living in a one-room hotel room because their partner spent their money on strippers. Mr. Mendez?
Yes, Your
What
Honor.
did you do when you found out that she sold your card collection?
I completely spazzed out, honestly. I completely spazzed out. I didn't even want to look at her. I was afraid that if I said something, I was just gonna regret it. I completely left. And
Did you find out who it was sold to?
I did find out who it was sold to, and you're never gonna believe this. She sold the cars to some guy online. She made about maybe $500 in the transaction. When I tried to talk to the guy after I got the information from her, the guy was trying to charge me up to $5,000 to buy the entire thing back.
Because he knew the value of it.
He knew the value of it, and she's walking around with a bougie purse, and I'm here empty-handed.
So, Mr. Mendez, did you call the police?
I did not.
You do realize you can call the police.
I know, but, Your Honor,
Because you understand that her selling your property was a criminal act without your permission.
I know, Your Honor.
And when she sold that property, the person who is now in receipt of it is in receipt of stolen property.
Yes, Your
So the police would be 100% willing to get involved to help you reclaim your property.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm aware.
They'd also put her little butt in jail.
I know, Your Honor.
She would be arrested with her hands put behind her back
Yes, Your Honor.
and perp walk right on out your crib. I'm gonna let you know right now, Ms. Adrianzen, if you did some stuff like that to me, they would be arresting you because that was the most disrespectful thing on the planet.
But he's been disrespecting the relationship.
Let me tell you something, there is no relationship, young lady, because if you knew that this was an interest of this man when you got with him, that doesn't mean you get to change him, okay? Women walk into these situations thinking, I'm gonna take a fully formed human being and turn him into something else. Mr. Mendez,
Yes, Your
I
Honor.
suggest to you that you stop worrying about marrying this one and start thinking about if you need to recover your property. Is there anything else I need to know? Because y'all were supposed to get married.
Yes, Your Honor. There is, Your Honor. During the time that I've been investing into the venue that we have, I have invested different deposits of $1,500 and $2,500 worth of substantial deposits.
That sounds like $4,000.
It is. I still have approximately $1,500 more to go. But I decided after going to the venue that I decided not to, to forfeit the deposit and no longer want to get married at this point. Just because she cannot respect my property, my values, or any of my interests
Do you
altogether.
get your money back from the venue?
I will, and that will hopefully recover some of the losses that I have from most of these cars that I've lost.
Oh, my work here is done. I hope that bougie purse works for you because you just got dumped.
That's on my side.
Look, I told you already, I don't want to do this
No,
no more.
don't talk to me anymore.
But what? I
Don't
didn't
talk
do
to me no
anything.
more.
You the one that stole
Don't
from
talk
me.
to me.
I don't understand why you continue
Shut up.
doing that to me for.
Robert, now you know, I do not like taking a woman to task, but when your behavior is just so foul,
Well deserved. Collecting cards. He's not at the strip club. He's not,
taking drugs,
doesn't have a side chick.
I hope he calls the police on her
Yeah.
and perp walks her little butt right out that house.
She better sell that bag.
That bougie bag, according to him.